Hello, this is Frank Skinner. Look, I'm going back on the road again. I know, with my show, Showbiz. I've finished the London thing, and I just want to go back to the places that we didn't do on the national tour, and places that sold out, like, super quick. Witnesses, that's what I'm after. Anyway, look, if you fancy coming to see me, I thought I'd let you know that there's a now, I've never typed in one of these in my life, but I'm going to do it for you. There's an address. It's www.absoluteradio.co.uk/tickets. It's like one of those proper things. And if you type that in, you'll see where I'm playing and when and all the possible details you could need. I'd love to see you. And who knows, you might even like to see me.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. It's a key element of the show, in my opinion. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website. When I say and, I mean or.
Yeah.
Don't go mad.
Yeah, don't over-communicate.
We don't want the same message, or even a slight variation on the same message through three different media. I'm going to start off with, I want to start off with something that we haven't had for ages on the show. If I can find the jingle. Keep talking.
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like, what do you think of Alan and my sartorial choices today, Frank?
Well,
tell the readers what we've gone for.
Alan has gone for, I think, is that double denim?
It is.
Yeah, and he's also shaved his head very, very close to his skull.
Oh, no,
Just
this is about a week after that, I think. Or maybe two.
Well, if you'd been here last week, I think we'd have been able to see, we'd have seen all those little scars from school days.
Yes. And where the compasses went in.
He's also doing a thing which I cannot pull off. Let me just put my spectacles on and check this. Yes, he's got his top button done up on his shirt, the very top button.
Oh, yeah.
If I do that, I look like, you know when people put herbs in a paper bag with a thing sticking out the top?
Yeah.
I look like that. I look like I've been...
what's it called? An amuse-bouche?
Yeah, I look...
Amuse-bouche, yeah.
I look like an amuse-bouche. That's what I look like.
And Frank, mine...
Oh, and Emily's also gone for denim, and it is a bit. If there was a skinhead movie on today,
would I be your girlfriend?
If there was a single longer skinhead escapes, you two could turn up as people who join in the audience.
Okay,
that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Not many radio shows start with a description of the participants. I like this.
No, it's. Good. I mean, I
Frank is wearing a burgundy sweater, maroon.
Yeah.
Maroon.
Yeah. Well, I am.
No, you're making it sound quite 1950s regional fashion show now.
Anyway, listen.
whatever happens.
Oh, we haven't done of these for a while.
I've been one for ages. Smelling salts.
Oh.
Do people still carry those?
Don't know if they
It's
carry
just
them.
my partner fainted a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching a Patrick Troughton version of Doctor Who, and he always whips out smelling salts.
Does he?
Because obviously there's people
Does
dropping
he?
like flies in Doctor Who.
Yes.
Do people still use it? Would a doctor have it?
You don't see them, the smelling salts.
What is
Oh,
it?
you mean
Well,
a doctor?
Yeah.
I thought you meant a doctor.
No, I mean, I rather than thee. I haven't seen smelling salts. I used to see a lot in gay clubs. Oh, no,
Did you?
Apparently that wasn't smelling salts.
Oh,
I just
okay,
had a
yeah,
message
something
come
else.
through. No, but where have they gone?
Good question.
Okay, 12,
I don't
15.
know. There's probably some new, medicinal version that's...
Yeah, but you never see
I don't know.
anyone hold that thing under someone's nose to help them. When Kath fainted a couple of weeks ago, there was two medics there. Nobody reached for smelling salts.
None of them.
Can I say...
Yes.
Someone has pointed out, actually, it's not an amuse-bouche, it's a bouquet garni.
Oh, well, he
Absolutely
was very good in
next
Till Death
door.
Us Do Part.
780.
The French version of Till Death Us Do Part, starring Bouquet Garni.
Amuse-bouche is the thing that they give you at a restaurant, isn't it? Before the dinner, and they say... the chef would like you to have.
Oh,
it.
that's
right.
right. I got to say,
Normally pea flavoured.
the only reason I know Amuse-Bouche is that there's a comedy club called the Amused Moose.
That's right.
And I didn't realise for years that was a play on words. In
Yeah.
fact, it was a
Neither did I.
it was an
Really?
idiotic eureka
Oh,
moment
right.
for me. So we got two old classics on the show this morning.
I'm loath
including
to-
me. Makes three. Sorry?
I'm loath to not read you this email.
Don't be
but
loath.
It's,
Is it 162 by any chance?
no,
now?
it's a troll from Friday night's emails that come in, but I think it could be interesting.
Okay.
Morning all. Alan and Emily, if you could just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Frank, how do you feel about the 12 regeneration loophole get out? As a child, we used to spend our pocket money on Doctor Who VHS from Woolworths. As a result, I have some deep ingrained Who knowledge. I remember thinking as a child that the franchise would be limited to only 12 regenerations possible. This from a Silchester McCoy generation, realising the programme had already hit its half-life. I admire the way the writers have acknowledged this fact, but I am curious as to how another interested party feels about it. I can't possibly ask my long-term partner as she may leave me.
No.
I can see that.
Well, that's
yes,
because you
there
haven't
are-
moved
that
in
is
with her
all
and you're
love
still at home.
That's from John from Guildford.
There's basically been what could be termed a major change in canon on Doctor Who.
Has there?
In that there's now a feeling that William Hartnell wasn't the first Doctor Who, that there were loads of Doctor Who's before. Lots of women, lots of people of colour, all before Hartnell. Maybe it's the BBC's ways of saying, oh, we can get back to white men now after Jodie, because we've covered all that in that one episode. Yeah, I don't know. It was a shock. I'm still processing, I'll be honest.
Oh.
But, because I'm Bill Hartnell is my doctor, so...
Just this news just in, before we go to a musical break, Frank, 162. My son, who is a power lifter, uses smelling salts.
Oh.
Are you sure they're smelling salts?
How does he?
Is that for when he faints through having
You can't use them.
deadlifted?
You can't use them. They're not really self-applicable, are they, smelling salts?
Are they definitely smelling salt? I'm not casting aspersions, but...
What you could do is you could have a medallion that was a sort of smelling salts bottle. So if you fell to the ground, it would break and you would be self-revived.
Well, Ian Rolleston, who's an under-15s football manager, has smelling salts in his football bag just in case.
Okay, so...
Old school, I've always had it.
No,
Good lad.
Does he come on and just put a bit of water on the injury like they used to in the old days?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
What else have we heard from the outside world? You know the outside world.
Well,
That place we're all frightened to go at the moment.
is it time to bring up the thorny issue of Pete?
Now, if you didn't listen last week, I
And the cockerel wasn't here, in fact, Frank, so we should give
Was
him
in
a
absentia.
refresher.
Okay, well, Gareth Richards was here last week and he was talking about a difficult neighbour that he had who he didn't want to name, and I said, why not call them Pete? Because Pete, Periphery Pete, I believe, is known. He's a sort of minor character in Disney World, but he used to be the horrible neighbour of Goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went to
Landlord,
that.
in fact, I discovered, his catchphrase is, "You ain't paid the rent."
I never knew that.
So much I didn't
Well, then
know.
there was a Christmas one I saw when he was definitely the neighbour, and he shoveled his snow onto Goofy's pathway. Unacceptable.
Yes, that's the point.
Not
That's the
very
beauty
neighbourly.
of Pete. He does,
He's bad.
yeah, he's exactly.
He's one of the few genuine hostels in, I don't mean like a youth hostel, I mean
Right.
he's a hostile environment in his own right.
So, Frank, I believe...
So he cropped up, and then I realised I didn't even know what animal Pete was. That's how
right.
Periphery Pete is.
We didn't know what animal, and then Frank went on to express contempt for the very concept of Pete merchandise.
Yeah, I thought, who would buy? Unless you were being wantonly...
Right, yeah.
I believe your actual words, because I'll never forget them, were, imagine buying Pete merchandise, what a loser.
Yeah. Well, I think that's... I don't know, I've never even seen... I've been to many, many Disney shops.
Yeah.
I've been to Disneyland Paris three times. I don't think I've ever seen any Pete merch.
This isn't a humble brag, is it? This is just
what
a
about
full-on
you?
brag.
Are you familiar with Pete, by
I'm
the
not
way?
familiar with Pete, except by reputation this
He's a
morning.
big cat. You'd like him. He looks like he might pump iron.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Do I?
Obviously animated iron.
So you've never seen Pete merch, Frank?
No.
I've never seen Pete merch either.
Well,
Was that the bloke from Bauhaus?
Very good. Robin Powell, one of our readers, has sent us a tweet saying, I'm in Disneyland Paris. Is this Pete? Pete sighting.
Okay.
And she enclosed a picture of Pete merchandise. It's a plastic figurine of him. I'm afraid, unfortunately, they have rendered the bulbous stomach, which is rather cruel.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Oh,
he's got a big tummy.
Too many calories and not enough lifting.
Too much ink. That's his trouble.
But she sent this, so there are Pete fans.
Okay.
I got so obsessed by this, I decided to then...
Can I ask a question on this
Sure.
subject? I thought there for a second you were going to say they'd seen a Pete character. You know those people that walk around?
Yeah.
That would be a lousy job. Because you would be... It's like... I remember once turning up at a fancy restaurant and there were paparazzi outside. And the cameras were flashing as I arrived, some woman. And then when I arrived, they just... they were all checking their picture. They let me go by. And I said, well, who was that woman? They said she was third in Britain's Next Top Model. And I thought, so that's what it'd be like being a Pete character.
Pete, I ended up watching a video called The Evolution of Pete.
Really?
I know. Well, you
Is it
know,
homemade,
writers
this?
will do anything, as you know, to avoid
You
writing.
sure it wasn't about fossil fuels?
Frank, all I'll say is it's 18 minutes of my life I clearly won't ever get back.
18-minute documentary.
18 minutes.
Wow.
I went in and I thought it would be 3. And
I'd have thought a lot of the Disney organisation didn't even believe in evolution.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Pete, we were discussing Disney Pete.
Disney Pete.
You watched an 18-minute documentary.
I have so many questions about this.
Pushing it, Frank.
See?
Did it clarify what creature Pete is?
Yes, it was. I mean, it was actually called, as I say, The Evolution of Pete.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
It was an origin story.
Okay.
Like
Sort of-
Joker.
Okay.
When you say like Joker,
Yeah.
it wasn't as dark, but I found there's so many gaps in my knowledge about Pete,
Well,
Frank.
I think there are comparisons, though, because Pete
Well,
is
yeah.
villainous in many ways.
Villainous, but I felt, much like Joker, I felt empathy for the character.
That's nice.
Okay.
Complex empathy.
Yeah.
Because, for a start, did you know Pete, he's the oldest continuous running Disney character. No idea for that.
Oh, and probably the least well known.
This is what I mean, Frank.
Oh, he's a bit first wife, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Is that when celebrities and you find out that they had a oh no, didn't quite work out.
This is the problem.
Or
Pete,
first manager is another one as well. Yeah.
Pete, 1925.
So Pete preceded Mickey Mouse, or even Mortimer Mouse.
It preceded
Wow.
Mickey Mouse. Pete was in Steamboat Willie, remember? Lest we forget.
Good knowledge.
That is just talk. Okay.
So Pete is currently still alive at 95.
Oh wow.
He's the oldest. Pete's voice was the first person to ever do Pete's voice. Can you guess who it was? I mean,
Walt Disney.
yes.
Oh, okay. I
And-
think he did them all in
That's a
those
good
days.
guess.
No, they had to change it after the first one. It didn't work.
Is that
he had
right?
to go at it. I heard it.
Trying to save money, Walt.
I even
Yeah.
heard it was something like, "You want to get bit." It wasn't
He
good.
should have got me in doing my Wild West old timer.
Oh, yeah, you're good at this guy.
Yeah, what you guys doing? Yeah.
Pete, as we've established, I mean, there was a lot of.
Can I say the whole show's not about Pete?
No, it's
today?
not. I will wrap this up. I do apologise.
Well, don't say it too soon. It might be.
Well, only if there's breaking news.
I'm just saying.
This is like, when you think, OK, it's a big virus, but can we have some other news now? When you're thinking that on the news.
Do you think we should stop talking about it?
No,
All right,
no.
Well, that's Pete.
Is there any other killer facts, though? Because the fact that he was the original is that's big.
Well,
What animal is he?
Well, this is a debate because it's a debate because Pete was a hybrid. Pete essentially filled the villainous shoes. Pete is who you want him to be. We all impose ourselves on Pete.
For Disney, isn't it?
Yes.
Psychological.
It really is.
Pete is whoever you want him to be.
He changes according to the story. He can be irate landlord. He's often irate landlord, let's be honest.
I've seen him as Cheshire Cat.
Have you?
But
fact
is he
about
a cat?
Pete, well, no. Pete started as a man. He changed to. He's been
He was ahead of his time.
Cat, a bear.
He's regenerated. He's the hybrid. There was a character in Doctor Who called the hybrid. What if Pete is in... well, this has gone too far. I apologise to all our... We'll start again.
The final thing I'd like to say about Pete, Frank, Pete started life with 2 teeth, and then he got a full Cheshire Cat set, and then he went back to 2.
Richard III, I think, started life with teeth. Was born with teeth.
Oh, right, that happens.
Yeah. My kingdom for a horse. Well, thanks. That's great info on Pete. Now we're going to start on that cow. There's a cow in it who I don't even know the name of the cow. Do you know that?
I don't know the cow.
Animated cow, I'd say is possibly even lower down the rankings than Pete. That's Periphery Pete.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I had a bit of an experience this week. Well, my son, I have a 7-year-old son, some of you will know out there. And this week he had a pretty unique experience, which I shared, in that he was the mascot for Tottenham Hotspur.
Really?
Against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah. I've took him now to 2 Tottenham Hotspur versus Wolverhampton Wanderers games, thinking, in a way of coping with the tragedy of my son supporting a team that isn't West Brom, I'll take him to see these team playing against our rivals, and then at least I'll have the pleasure of them losing. On both occasions, Wolves have won.
Oh, dear.
That's failed terribly. But yeah, he was... there's 11 mascots for the day.
Oh. Right.
And you meet in a mascot room, get there, 3 hours before the kick-off. They play Jenga.
Do they?
Yeah.
So does
they play Jenga? Tottenham Hotspur branded Jenga they played together.
Can I just ask, so is your role the mascot chaperone?
Yes, I am the chaperon. Yeah.
Lovely.
He's one Are you not mascot dad? Presumably.
I never got a cool mascot dad. I'll tell you what.
Because it might not be the dad.
I own a letter written in on a manual typewriter. You remember a manual typewriter, the philosopher?
Yeah.
On a manual type, and blue ink on headed West Bromwich Albion notepaper, and it says, "Dear Mrs. Collins," that was my mum's name. It said, "Dear Mrs. Collins, we're sorry, but your son really does sound like a loyal West Brom supporter, but we don't have mascots at West Brom, so I'm afraid he cannot be a mascot. But I hope you'll continue to support us." And it's signed by the manager, Alan Ashman.
Really?
Yeah. And I've got that. So I never made it as a mascot. Let's face it, it's too late for me now. Can you imagine if I went out as a mascot?
Hey, it could happen.
Well...
Yeah?
I'm just writing a letter to Make-A-Wish Foundation or something.
I think because I say ageism is the least...
Yes.
The least practised.
What would you wear? Instead of the shorts, would you wear the trousers with the elasticated waist? I'd go for those, Frank. The ones in the Sunday supplement that we like. Yes.
The only way they could get away with it is if I went out, say, in the kit from 1967 of when I first went. So I was. It was like they were they were accompanied by the past in some way. I think that might work, but I don't think I'd be taken seriously as a mascot. I have to accept that. The same things happened to me with being an orphan.
Yeah,
I think there's an age where you don't get the sympathy for being an orphan.
You're right.
Anymore.
Now you tell me.
I think I could have clawed back some of the all those advantages of being a rich, middle-aged white male that I've now lost. I could have played my orphan card. But no, they weren't happy. Anyway, it was brilliant. It was really properly exciting day. I lost the chaperone competition. When the kids go off, to get all their things signed by the players.
That's nice.
It was not. I got to tell you, I mean, this is a bit cheesy, but when Boss came back with a Tottenham shirt covered in autographs, the look on his face was, I mean, it was. Anyway, so they have a competition of who's come the furthest. Which of the parents have come the furthest for the day?
And you were just down the road.
I was 7.3 miles.
Right.
So I lost. The man who won had come from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was 2 from America.
Wow.
Well, I mean, people travel.
I like they reward you for being the furthest away fan. I mean, they used to laugh at you.
What would Greta think?
Well, it's a way to come for that. So he was holding hands with I know it with Tanganga.
Right.
I don't know if you know Tanganga, the defender.
I don't.
Yeah, so that was the moment. But here's a question for you then.
Yeah.
How do they decide which mascot holds hands with which player on the day?
You don't want us to guess?
Do you know the
cliffhanger? It's called the cliffhanger. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you imagine if Harry Kane had been playing, which he wasn't, you're just going to get squabbling.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I was in a gentleman's toilet.
Were you?
Yeah. And
old-fashioned.
Hampstead?
It was in Hampstead. It was at Wagamama.
Oh, okay.
And a man came in wearing fingerless gloves.
Market trader.
No, I think he might have been a Wagamama delivery man.
Oh,
You see, it's interesting you went market trader. I would have gone more Cure fan. Each to their own.
I would have gone Albert Steptoe.
Yes.
Don't leave me, Aaron.
Sums up all our decades.
I
mean, they're weird. First of all, anyway, I'll tell you what happened first. So he went to the urinal, keeping his gloves on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his fingerless gloves. And then he very delicately washed his hands, still with the gloves on.
Fingertips only.
Just the finger ends.
Makes sense.
He actually washed that.
There's a lot of logic to this.
I'm worried there's going to be about 1/8 of an inch between glove and that never gets washed.
Yeah.
That's sort of a no man's land.
He's going to have the fingerless glove turn.
And then I thought, I don't really understand what they're sort of shorts for the hands.
They are.
Fingerless gloves.
What's not to understand?
Yeah, but but what gets me, shorts for the hands make sense, except that shorts for the legs you don't wear in winter normally.
Oh.
Whereas shorts for the hands and fingers, you don't wear it in summer. I mean, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, traditionally...
This could be a new feature. Frank wonders what's going on.
New feature.
Yeah.
New Channel 5 show.
But who on earth?
Get that commissioned.
I think they are. I think they probably were originally invented for people who were doing a delicate work, like handling change.
Needlework. Yeah.
Yeah, needlework. Good shout.
I think Market Trader is. I mean, they do.
I was thinking of EastEnders. Was it?
Oh
Pete?
yes. Can you watch my store?
Yeah,
for 5 minutes. Yeah.
I've got to go and chop the end off these gloves. That sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it used to be I've got to go and kill 2 East End underworld criminal people. Can you watch my store?
And then
Yeah, but dying around after you've killed them. I haven't got all day. I always called them steptoe gloves.
Did you?
Because old man Steptoe in the popular 70s sitcom Steptoe and Son always wore them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started thinking about there are things which I still call by the first person I saw doing it. So, do you know what I mean by a Madonna microphone?
Yes. In fact, I think the whole industry still calls that a
Do they
Madonna
still
mic.
call them? The
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
that,
so. The
the
headset.
one that comes around, the younger people here are looking at me confused.
Not
Well,
a clue.
can I tell you, the younger people will call that a Brittany. Do you yeah, they just
Oh,
pointed and
they
they knew
call
what
it
I
a
meant.
Brittany.
They
I
know
think
Brittany.
they call it a microphone.
Yes.
No, they call it a
Could be
Brittany.
right.
No, they've confirmed.
Do
This
they
news
even
just in.
remember Britney?
I've called it a Madonna
Yes.
mic to technicians, and they've nodded as if they know what I'm talking about.
What about a Scooby-Doo sandwich? You know what that is?
Like a bit-
sandwich that is
Yes.
slightly taller than the full extent of your gaping mouth.
That's
Yeah.
a good shout.
Oh, yes. If you've got any things which you can think of, which is like a
Oh, yeah.
then do you know what I mean by an
Yeah.
like a Madonna microphone?
Weirdly, yes.
Let us know. I think there must be a lot of these things kicking
Yes.
around. Have we got an answer for my last? What was my last question? Do you remember?
Which one? Regarding the tunnel? Regarding the...
No, I asked. What? I don't know. The what?
We'll find it out.
Hands, who picks?
Oh yeah. How do you decide which mascot holds hands with which
Oh,
footballer?
yes.
in the
No,
line?
no one has... I'm afraid we don't have
Well, I
any
can
news
tell you, it's
regarding
done.
that.
Just to avoid any arguments, they do it in order of height. So the smallest child goes out with the captain. The second
Oh, that's
smallest
nice.
goes out with the player. So there's no debate.
Great.
That's a
going on.
lovely way of doing it.
And also they
very
come
good.
then like a lovely flight of stairs.
Yeah.
They steadily. And if you got the right angle of the photo, you could get all 11 mascots on one head-on shot.
Oh, that's
If you
nice.
could think that would look great if you could work that out. I think the players should be made to come out in that order as well.
Height shame.
Or maybe tallest first, a sense of some disappointment as we get to the shorter
Yes.
place.
I think everyone in life should have to do that.
In-
I'd have
yeah.
to come in. I'd come
Yeah, Miss World.
Yeah.
What are the long-term queuing things are there when
Just
people
queuing?
come out in a line?
Be good for me, tallest.
Be good for me to queue.
Yeah, usual suspects, those things.
Yes.
Identity parades.
Yeah.
This could change the
That's
world.
quite Madonna mics. I call the identity parade the usual suspects.
Ah, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
There you go.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
So this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. So they're talking about banning 70-year-olds from Premier League games. Roy Hodgson, 81215. So
You set up a what I would call a text-in
Yes.
where you were discussing the Madonna mic. Like the first time you see that microphone, you then call it a Madonna
To me,
mic
it'll always
forever.
be a
Yes.
Madonna mic.
Yeah.
It's me too.
So you were after other things that people were thinking of, the da-da-da-da-da-da.
Steptoe gloves.
Steptoe gloves,
Yes.
Madonna mic. 187, a good shout. Something I call the name of the first person I see with it is MC Hammer trousers.
Lovely.
yeah.
Which are the harem pant.
Voluminous.
Yeah.
The harem pant will always be
Yeah.
the MC Hammer.
Yeah, that's quite right, MC Hammer
They
trousers.
continue the big baggy numbers. My nan was wearing trousers once, and I said, "I see you've got MC Hammer trousers on." She had no idea what I meant.
And he knew
of
she
course.
wouldn't. He knew she wouldn't.
Cabby D.
I think also sometimes, this is possibly slightly confusing it with the chair, but I would say the Kevin Keegan perm.
Oh.
If people refer to a permed
Yeah.
hairstyle. Now, Kevin Keegan hasn't had a perm for several decades.
No, I see. I wonder if
What
I
would-
say Lenny Bennett. But Kevin Keegan, you're right, is the more common.
You know, the millennial readers of this show are going to have to do some googling now.
Well, I hope
Who's your
they should know who Kevin Keegan is.
I have been rewatching Seinfeld from the beginning with my son on
now
box
you're going to be
set.
saying, it's like that episode of Seinfeld.
No,
When?
no, quite the opposite. Kramer, the eccentric neighbour character, was one day wearing a sheepskin coat, and I thought, he's got a John Motson coat on.
Oh, yeah, that's one.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
When I used to wear a sheepskin coat, the
very
amount
good,
of
very
people
good.
that said that's a John Motson coat.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've heard people actually shouted at sheep. That's how much it prevails, the John Motson coat. No, it's that's a good one.
Yeah.
John Motson for a
Lovely,
sheepskin.
lovely, Al.
Yes.
275, two sartorial ones for you: the Harry Hill collar and the Nelson Mandela shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I believe this
Very
is
good.
technically called a Madiba shirt. Who knew? I didn't know that.
What
I didn't know.
it's a Versace shirt, isn't it?
But it might be based on a traditional African
You tell
design.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to give the late Gianni, his propers,
shout.
Frank.
The right
He
who?
The late Gianni Versace.
Oh, yeah, Gianni.
He reinterpreted. I like that you've Birmingham'd him up a bit. Oh yeah, Gianni.
I thought you said the late Johnny. I thought, who's that then?
No, Gianni
Was that
Versace.
Johnny Mandela?
You see that? It was the strange part of the Venn diagram where Noel Edmonds overlapped with Nelson Mandela.
Did
The
he?
Why?
Versace shirt.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought it was that Winnie Mandela rumour. We'll move on.
Cosmic
from there.
ordering. I didn't know whether.
Cosmic ordering.
I don't know whether Nelson. He didn't
Mandela.
strike me as a cosmic orderer.
No, he knew that you have to make things happen yourself. If anyone knew it, was Nelson Mandela. Whereas, because I think the Noel Edmonds things happened to him based almost tightly on luck. He
Yes.
came to be seen at cosmic ordering as he thought that's he just say I'll have that please and it'll come. Yeah, well, is it working now? What's he asking for?
Well, he's asking for the hair to stay the same colour, which it has.
That's
the lion hair,
he's
the
the
mane.
most. He's the most. I am going to be recognised if it for the rest of my life if it kills me. But God bless him. He's a great broadcaster.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we had an outing, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Did you
We
enjoy it?
went. I loved it. It was part of my birthday celebration. Al couldn't make it because he lives in Manchester, which is fair enough. It's a jaunt.
It was
Yeah.
half term as well.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a legendary dad, but at least I was there.
I think
know?
you're a legendary dad. Anyway, we went to an exhibition in
We did.
Covent Garden.
Yes.
An exhibition called James Bond in Motion. La 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 la. James Bond in Motion. La 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 la. James Bond. Then why don't they have that as their thing? Oh, anyway.
Come up with so many good ideas for other people's
I know.
projects.
I know, and you
don't
know what? I don't mind them
That's
just
true.
having it. I don't mind them having it.
Sometimes they just do have
I
it, don't
wouldn't
they?
be surprised if they had a wine and cheese evening if they couldn't get Boney M to go in and do it live.
Probably.
You know. So we met Meg Simmons. Guess what her job is, Al?
She's lovely.
Bond in motion historian.
Well, you've basically got it. She
No.
is the James Bond archivist.
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
So she works for Eon, who make the movies.
Right.
And she knows a lot about... I tell you what I love about her, though.
Yeah, I've
Yes.
gathered that already.
Yeah, she
from
was such a company woman, Meg.
Right.
she was.
that
She had a lovely belly.
I referred to something that happened in Never Say Never Again, which was a sort of rogue movie that wasn't made by Eon, and she said, "Oh, I don't know anything about that one."
Wow.
Yes.
Deliberately.
That's
think-
great.
You'd think someone who knew loads about Bond being a completist would have thought, well, obviously I'll watch that and read about it, but no,
Yes.
I don't have anything to do with that. Didn't happen.
It was a special. I mean, it was Frank's special day.
Yeah.
It was great.
So what I liked was the lighting, Frank. It was a very forgiving lighting. It was lovely in there.
Oh, really?
Oh, we got to go around a bit early.
Yeah, we got. Are we allowed to say this?
Yes, we are.
So we got a bit of special treatment. So we went in because it was my
Brilliant.
birthday after all.
Uh-huh.
So we went in an hour before the exhibition started.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's like, things like Odd Job's car. Remember Odd Job? It was
Yeah.
the guy with the razor sharp bowler hat.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
and
love
loads of
that.
stuff like
Cubby Broccoli's roller.
that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And just loads
Roger
of stuff.
Moore's naval suit, Frank.
Loads of stuff from, yeah. Loads of stuff. No, Roger Moore's naval fluff.
What about when we heard, which again I think we're allowed to say, Frank? She said Roger liked to take his clothes home with him. He liked to keep, didn't he, the clothes?
Yeah, like John Pertwee.
Yeah. Oh, did he like to
Nice.
keep an outfit?
John Pertwee apparently. Sorry, I've gone a bit Doctor Who this morning, but John Pertwee they'd have two, one for the stunt man, and one for him.
Yeah.
And he used to say to the stuntman, wear this one. Be careful with it. Be careful. Because he'd got one held back. So they wore the same ones. And then John Pertwee went home with all these fabulous velvet jackets and
Lovely.
shirts and
Yeah.
stuff. Tremendous. So,
In fact, we
What's
should
that?
put a picture on the socials of Frank. You got to hold something rather special.
oh, I did.
Broadcastable.
I had. It's all right. I had fingerless gloves.
Oh, excellent.
No, I got to hold. I'll give you a clue.
Well, I think we should keep them on centre.
Well, can I just give
I
them
mean,
a clue?
mine's will be racing during this song.
When you held it, I've never seen. God,
Okay, yes.
Clue.
Yeah,
clue.
the light was catching it. That was what was
It looked.
amazing.
I've never seen anything like it.
No, it could have gone off at any second.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We left you on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah. So I held. This is the clue. He's got a powerful weapon.
No,
he
you
charges
never.
$1 million. I held Lulu. No, I didn't. I held the golden gun.
Wow.
He was the man with the golden gun, and he really entered into the spirit of it. He held it. He did the
imagine
exact pose, Frank.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
We found out all sorts of amazing stuff, like that. The gun that you often see on the early James Bond posters is it's a what is it? A PPK thingy. I'm not very good on guns.
Yes, I know. I mean, Bond specialists, I'd be nervous about.
It's actually the air gun version of it, 'cause it's got a longer
Nozzle.
thing, and that looks
Yeah.
a bit more impressive on the poster. So
Barrel.
He's actually
Yes.
holding an air gun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Walter PPK, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds
Walter
very
PPK
good.
sounds like he could be related to Will I Am.
Yes.
Yeah, so we learnt
It
loads of
was-
stuff. I also took photos of loads of stuff. I took a photo of one of Daniel Craig's suits from the new film, and even though it wasn't on a
Beautiful.
Daniel Craig, you could tell it was Daniel Craig because of his slightly simian.
To paraphrase
Physique.
the late Marquis Smith, it contained the essence of Craig.
It did.
Did it?
It did. We should maybe we'll put that picture on because the suit. It's just you can't see the suit without seeing Daniel
Designed
Craig. in it.
by Frank?
Oh, I don't know. Stuff
Ooh.
like that.
Oh, I do. Tom Ford.
Tom Ford.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been
Fordy.
my eighth guess, probably.
One
so
of
we
Fordy's.
saved a bit of time there.
We were talking. So I tripped out a lot of my Doctor Who trivia to Meg.
She was quite impressed,
To
I thought.
impress the professor.
Well, things like I used to have a James Bond suitcase with loads of the gun that
it an
assembled.
attaché
It was a
case?
bit of an attaché. Bless you. Dangerous nowadays.
Did your mum make some of that? Because I know your mum was a fan of making you a
She did.
bespoke action man.
I think she did, from a sort of leather fabric that my dad used to work at Rover, so he used to bring back some of the upholstery fabric.
Oh, yeah.
I think she might have made me a shoulder holster from that.
That's
Now you
good.
come to mention it, yeah. Still
you-
wear it sometimes
Yeah.
when,
Was
it
when I
out
go
of-
out with a firearm.
Can't be too careful.
What
don't
I
wanna go.
used to call a doll's leather. There was a specific kind of leather. I remember I had the Fonzie doll with a doll leather jacket.
Well, I collected these James Bond bubblegum cards when I was a kid. Black and white they were. And this was early days. This was like From Russia with Love was like the latest. No, Goldfinger had just come out.
Right.
So
Okay.
so I collected these cards. I'm going to be straight with you. This would have been 60s. They got lots of bikini-clad models.
Yeah.
And quite a lot. This is
Wow.
kids' bubblegum cards.
Different
and then,
times.
And then, God damn it, they did an article about it on something like the Braden Beat, one of these consumer programs about these disgusting cards that were going to children. They
Right.
got Pussy Galore,
Yes.
the character. There was
yes.
lots of names like that. There was Plenty O'Toole as well,
Was there?
and of course Roger Moore.
Of course.
And they So my mum and after it had been exposed on the telly as these disgusting cards, my mum and dad had a bit of a conference. I heard it. They were saying, he collects those cards, what we're going to do about it. So my mum said, oh, can I have a look at your James Bond? Like, really? Like, I didn't know what was going on. And she looked at these cards. She's going, oh, yes, oh. And then she said to me, what's your favourite one? And I thought, I know, it's a trap. It's a trap.
Did you know?
Yeah. So I picked a picture of, James Bond with a gun. She said, oh, yeah, that's a nice one. What's your favourite one with a lady on it? And I thought, no,
I'm not
falling for it. I went on a Blackman polo neck jumper. Hey,
shout.
2 on that.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
When you were at the Bond Museum thing, and I love it when you do these things off timetable when the general public can't get in.
Oh,
and
it's brilliant.
I can't shake the idea of you being like Alan Partridge going around that Dixon's just opening tape decks. But yeah, did you see any ejector seat action? Was there any of that sort of thing?
They had the Corgi car.
Cool.
That's the Aston Martin DB5, I think, which had got
The most I've ever heard you talk about cars
You
ever.
know, it's the one time in his life when he becomes a bit of a car,
Yeah.
one of those car people.
Yeah, well, there's not that many distinctive cars in Doctor Who. There's Bessie, which was John Pertwee.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, they travelled by other methods
They
in
did.
Doctor Who.
That
to be
sounds
fair.
like one for the...
It wouldn't have worked if they went everywhere by car.
Can I just say...
Get that A to Z out.
Also, Bessie doesn't sound much of a sort of ladies' wagon. Like, just
No.
take Bessie. It
No,
doesn't sound like Kit.
No,
Yeah.
it was a bright yellow sort of vintage car,
Sort of magnificent men in their flying machines.
It had that feel to it. So I've still got the original Corgi car, James Bond DB5 and the first thing that Meg asked me is, have you still got the figure? Because people used to
That's what
lose.
she asked me. I said, mind your own business.
I know, that was a bit harsh. I shouldn't have said that to you. I thought you stuck together, you lot.
Exactly.
What people used to do, they used to eject, like, the bad guy, who was a little tiny figure holding a gun, and then they'd lose it.
Yes.
But I've still got mine.
Have you?
That's the kind. I was a very lonely child, so it was very
I
easy
could
for
have
me
done with
to...
those ejector seats.
Keep things.
That's what you need for a bad date. Across both sexes, can I say?
Yes.
What?
If you
An
just want
ejector
to
seat?
get out, sometimes you just want to get out.
This is a great
No
idea.
questions asked, because you don't want
Yeah.
to go into an explanation with someone you don't know.
Oh, I thought you meant to fire someone out.
Oh, I thought you meant that. Did you
Yeah,
not?
I do.
Yeah, oh, good.
You don't want to go into an explanation, so if it's not working, just press the button.
Can you
is great.
imagine that?
It's really assertive.
I love it because there's no need. It's like everyone understands that is the rule. If at any point, it's like on Graham Norton, they have the chair.
Yeah.
It's the same principle.
I'll tell you what worries
think
me
people
now
would
from
complain.
from a perspective of asking myself what kind of person I am. When you said that, my first thought was, oh, how do you get the seat back?
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Fire them out and then go back for the chair.
It's having
for
to
your
go
next
over.
date.
It's having to go over while they're still unconscious and undo the safety belt to empty them out.
Yeah.
as if that wasn't Alan's first concern.
Oh, no, that wouldn't work at all.
Can I just mention briefly at this juncture, just so the readers know, we are appreciative of their lovely contributions, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
You have a few balls. I was going to say, you've got some plates in the air, haven't you? Plates in the air,
plates
balls in
spinning.
the air, plates spinning. Billy's mullet. He's come up with a Madonna microphone example, the Benny from Crossroads hat.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's true.
Alan the cabbie, the Starsky jumper.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Which someone else texted.
423
Starsky
said
cardigan.
Starsky and Hutch cardigan.
He means cardigan.
I'm actually wearing some trainers today that are often thought of as Starsky and Hutch trainers.
Oh, yeah, well, check those out during the music.
Yeah, well, I'll walk around a bit.
Someone sent in, you'll be able to say who. Don't let me put you on the spot, though.
No.
Because we can do it after. That they had Pete they had a piece of Pete merchandise with Pete as Boba Fett.
Yes.
Now that is the Disney organisation at its most cynical, I think, because they're saying Boba Fett, the most periphery Star Wars regular, and Pete, they sort of will. It's so obvious. Pete's not going to be Luke Skywalker, is he? Ever?
No, he's so Boba Fett. Well, Trevor Dudbridge sent that in, Frank. And what I like is he's gone to the trouble of sending with helmet, without helmet for Boba Fett.
Top
I would say
work.
that
And
whole
he's
item has got collector's item written all over it. if you
He's
ask
just
me.
called it My Pete Merch.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's like My Sweet Lord.
Boba Pete. It's great. It's perfect.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing John Motson's sheepskin coat earlier, and 596 has raised the point. It's arguable that John Motson would say he was wearing an Eddie Waring jacket.
Yeah, see, that's not how I think of Eddie Waring.
Everything's arguable.
Yeah, everything. Eddie Waring was a rugby league commentator who I don't associate with the. No, I mean, Motson, he's made it his own.
Okay. What about...
He still wears it.
He
What
does.
about 009 as we're on?
It's a lot
009s.
easier to just wear the same coat than have to go through all the Noel Edmond dyeing and
Yeah,
retaining the same beard. Just wear the same coat.
very easy.
Frank, do you want to hear about what 009 has to say?
009.
He's been in touch.
That James Bond's next door neighbour.
Yes.
So does that mean he's if he's a 009, he's definitely killed twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to be 00. Oh no,
Do
you
you?
just have to be 00, don't you?
Oh,
to
do
be
you?
to be a licence to kill.
Yeah.
Go on.
He says, when I see people with their collar turned up, I call it the Cantonar collar.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
And that's Tom. I think that's a good shout.
See, I think of that as the Elvis collar. It's all about age.
And you know where I go? Fonzie. Okay.
Oh,
Fonzie.
Oh, Fonzie. That was brilliant.
What about my Fonzie doll? And you'd press something at the back and he'd say, and he'd raise his little thumbs a lot.
oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Oh, I love that.
I remember you condemning me on here for calling the actor Henry Winkler.
What?
I think my reaction was more like this.
Winkler?
Henry Winkler, yeah. Surely is how you say his name.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
It makes my Descartes not seem as bad, doesn't it?
Well, I think
I thought you were saying it
Winkler.
makes my Descartes, as in it makes my day.
makes my day cards.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
mate.
thing, wouldn't it? It makes my day cards would be a great thing for philosophers to say to each other.
Do you know what? If I was a philosopher,
I disturbed the show today because one of my Oxford philosophy. I got this Oxford philosophy app that sends me
Right.
alerts with philosophical terms,
That's
and I
nice.
forgot to switch it off.
you see, you should do a podcast with philosophers called "Make My Descartes."
That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, make my
Make
day card.
Yeah, I know. I'm being cruel to Al, but make my Descartes.
Yeah, I think you could do that.
Frank, Karen has been in touch. Is this
Karen.
Karen?
What,
I do
I see you
apologise.
meant the German. I was going to say Krautrock, but can we still say Krautrock?
No,
Okay.
Karen. I do apologise. Hi guys, is this one of the most well-known Madonna microphone items? Deirdre Barlow glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also, of course, let's be fair, Deirdre Rashid. Let's not
Yes.
forget
Oh, was that her married name?
I think she had a few. They all got married 12 times.
She had a few
I remember that when
Bit of gossip.
regrets.
when Roy Cropper married Hayley.
Yes.
I remember the thing was it was the first sort of transgender wedding.
Soap opera wedding.
Yeah, woke opera, soap opera wedding. Woke opera.
Yeah.
And it was the first one of those. But the Guardian said, yeah, that okay, it's a big deal, you know, that a transgender person got married on a soap opera. They said, but if it was being covered by like the Weatherfield Gazette, they might be more interested in the fact there was 8 women in the audience whose husbands had died as a result of violent crime.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Oh, yeah.
This is Do I say this is the Frank Skinner Show?
I think you do,
Frank
yeah.
Skinner.
Frank Skinner Show,
Sometimes-
love.
This is the Frank Skinner Show with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. And do I mention me being on it?
You usually say
remember.
this is Frank Skinner.
Okay. Okay.
But
it ca-
everyone knows it's Bagpuss's show.
Yeah, you can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I've got the giggles. I just looked at my Apple Music
Oh, yes.
and I looked at the last thing I was playing on here.
And
It was...
would you care to share?
I think I'm going to... Am I allowed to play it on
The producer's nodding.
producer?
He knows her music.
It was...
Oh, I'm
oh, it
I'm-
won't play. Oh!
Suspenseful.
It is. It's actually The Sea Devils by Malcolm Clark.
Is it?
What is it? Is it?
It's incidental music from 1970s Doctor Who.
Of course.
All
it
right?
is.
You all right with that?
So, can I just ask a question? And I'm honestly not judging you.
No, good.
Honestly not. But would you listen to that in headphones walking down the street? Or in what context would you listen to? No,
think I'd be scared.
no.
I don't know. I don't know if I listen. I certainly listen to it while I'm, doing stuff around the house and things.
Really?
Yeah.
House.
Yeah.
That's nice for Kath.
Yeah. She likes a bit of synth.
Actually, she does like a synth, Kath.
Yes.
Who's her favourite musician? I can't remember, but there's...
Oh,
she
Ulrich
likes so many.
Schnauz.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
She's a
yeah.
Kraftwerk fan as well.
Yes.
Oh, aren't we all? So, we were talking about...
Aren't we all? That's like when somebody complains that someone's tired. And you go, yeah, we're all tired, love.
Alan said that to me once. I said, I'm just a bit tired. He went, we're all tired, dear.
So, listen, we were talking about we were talking about James Bond.
Yes.
We had a few plates. We had Deirdre Langton's first name,
Oh, yeah, somebody has sent you a correction.
621.
621. Never forget she was Deirdre Langton originally.
But she wasn't Deirdre Langton. She married Ray Langton. That's how she became Deirdre Langton.
so we're now into the correctione being correctione.
So- Deirdre's maiden name.
I don't know. Yeah, so we're on about Deirdre's maiden name.
Okay. Well, maybe you can link it to... what was the daughter
It'll
called?
come to me. Tracy.
Oh, lovely work.
Oh, yeah. Hateful, but alluring. I mean, that's
So
what
many
you're-
things come under that category.
Yes, yes.
My next memoir.
Yeah, yeah. I used to be mad about Coronation Street, and that, right through the early days, right up to.
You did. I remember one of my first proper sort of formal social conversations with you. I think we were discussing soaps, and then shortly after that, the Christmas tree formation.
Oh yes.
It was peak Skinner.
Yeah. Well, we said we'd keep that to ourselves. So.
Sorry, Bond.
So yes. So it turns out that Daniel Craig was. So it said in the paper. I'm not casting aspersions. That he was offered a lot of money to use a Samsung, I think it was,
I heard about
Yes.
this.
in a Bond film, and he said it wasn't good enough for 007.
Yeah. The bit I didn't
Wow.
understand is, was that money offered to Daniel Craig himself?
Well,
Yes.
that's what I
Or
don't
to the
understand.
production.
Because does
Well-
he get to say whether what phone he uses?
I
Yeah,
have,
probably does,
I have
actually.
intel.
Oh yeah,
Evolution of Pete style. I haven't watched an 18-minute video on this.
you just talked to my cleaner, my ex-cleaner who went to Daniel
You
Craig.
should have all the information. I believe they did compromise in the end, and they did end up showing. I think he sends a phone, Bond, to Moneypenny.
Oh.
Okay.
Good enough for the ladies. you see.
Yeah.
He sends it to Moneypenny and she opens it. There's no branding, but we know it's a Samsung. I think he was offered $5 million personally, which he turned down.
What? What?
You can confirm from
What?
your clean. James, what?
Wow. If they offered me that to smoke Woodbine on there, I would do.
I mean, when I was on Coronation Street, I don't remember being asked what would you like your character
No, but
to...
he's a powerful. I remember when I always sticks in my memory. He was interviewed on, I think it was on Graham Norton, about Quantum of Solace when it was just about to come out.
Oh, yes.
And he said, "Well, I've actually been quite involved in this one. I've had involvement with the script and all that." And I thought,
yeah,
he sounds,
Frank,
he sounds meddlesome.
we should say
yeah,
meddlesome.
didn't win any meddlesomes for that. Though. I was the only time I actually lost. I know I lost my way. You know, when you're watching a film, you think, "Oh, I don't understand what's going on." It's a very complex plot, and you think I'm a bit lost here. That happened to me in The Chase at the beginning of Quantum Solace. I thought, wasn't he? Is he still?
That happens to me in The Chase with Bradley Walsh.
You got well. There you go.
I mean, what's going on? I don't understand what they do, these people. Why do they... How does it work?
Bradley Walsh due to become the new Pa Larkin.
Yes.
Apparently.
Well, hasn't he got Doctor Who commitments?
No, well, they say he's going.
Well, he's going to need to free that up so someone else can
He
step in.
plays Pa Larkin in the... you know Pa Larkin, the father of Philip Larkin.
Yeah.
If only there was someone who'd
was,
already played
a Nazi.
a role in Doctor Who and was well loved.
He bought his young child a metal Adolf Hitler where you could press a little thing and he did a Nazi salute. That was Philip Larkin's
For
dad.
God's sake, play
Great
the music.
knowledge.
Okay, I'll play
Great
him here.
Go play the music now.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We can solve something firstly, which was the question of Deirdre Barlow / Langton,
Rashid.
her maiden name or her original name.
I should
Alan?
know this. I really should know this.
Alan?
Well, 646 and 824 have texted saying that her maiden name was Hunt.
Deirdre Hunt.
Deirdre Hunt.
I don't remember that.
I mean, when you say it like that, she had a lot of surnames over the course of her life.
She did. Tremendous, though, she
the
was.
paperwork, incredible.
Well, it's a lot of admin.
Mm-hmm. That's what would put me off being a spy, by the way.
That's what?
The admin.
Yeah,
That's
just
why
think
she
how
wore
many
the-
passwords they have to remember.
She wore the massive glasses to avoid being blinded by rice that was thrown at her on a regular basis. They were goggles, really, protective goggles.
Daniel Craig, he's your personal sort of Moriarty figure in your life, really.
Well,
Yeah.
but my cleaner who left me for Daniel Craig has now gone on.
We should say you weren't involved with her, either of you. Your cleaner wasn't Rachel
No,
Weisz.
she was she was my. We were clean. She cleaned at our home.
Yeah, and then
In fact, I spoke to my current cleaner the other day, and she said, "Oh yeah, I clean for Daniel sometimes." I thought,
Really?
He's working his wicked ways again. She'll be off.
Yeah. That is a shame.
I mean to get cleaners. I'm not suggesting anything else.
he apparently, we were talking about the Samsung deal that he turned down because him and the movie was Spectre at the time.
Yeah.
And was it Sam Mendes who directed that? I think it might have been, but if I'm wrong, I do apologise. But he didn't think it was the right fit for Bond. Apparently he said Bond only uses the best, so he wouldn't be seen with the phone. He was offered 50. They were offered 50 million as a deal, and he was individually offered 5 million.
Well, Sony's supposed to have offered them 50 million, but we don't know what that was for. They might have wanted him to use a mini disc.
Yeah.
I think Sony offered 18 million. Samsung offered 50. I mean, what we're saying is these people are being offered a lot of money, Frank.
Yeah, yeah.
Money
Do you think-
kicking around. Who was it that made the magnet that takes the zip on the dress down? That's a sponsorship.
I think he got that from a scrapyard. Just
do you
like
know?
£3 from a scrapper. Do you think there was a point where Daniel Craig went, I don't think we should have a Samsung phone because Bond wouldn't have that? That there was anybody in the meeting that wanted to say, Daniel, this is all pretend, but the money's real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's not a documentary about a spy.
Actually, Bond didn't have blonde hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Just shut up and take some of this money, mate.
No,
Well,
but all right. Just keep doing that.
I like that the new film is called No Time to Die, which just basically sounds like he's got a lot on.
Yeah, that's exactly how I
I haven't got
interpreted
time
it.
to die, dear.
and he's
I mean, I'm so busy this
I've
week.
done the
retired.
hoovering.
Isn't that the point of this, that he's retired in this one?
Yeah,
He's
but
got no
why don't
choice.
they just call it Bond? Haven't got a minute to myself.
Why not just call it Bond 35 or whatever
Yeah.
it is? Just do them all like that now. That's the way forward.
Yes.
Not as sexist as it used to be, it could be called.
Yeah.
Well, I was
That'd
watching it.
draw
Bond
people in.
and the
Bond-
project.
Yes, exactly. I watched the clip of the new
Is
Bond
that what
film.
he called them? Oh, yeah.
I watched a clip of the new Bond film, and it was a bit odd because the trailer before I was watching, they have the ad beforehand. I hate those ads, Frank.
Yeah.
Skip this in 3 seconds. Why not just let me skip it now? Anyway, the ad that I didn't have the option to skip was 2 middle-class kids in karate uniform, Al.
Cool.
Just to bring you into this.
Love it.
And they were saying, "Please slow down, Daddy." And the dad's going too fast. I mean, I don't.
Oh,
I think
right.
they
In a car.
Speed
survived.
awareness
Yes,
Yeah.
They survived, but they went, "No, Daddy, stop!" It was one of those very distressing.
I
and,
thought at first it was going to
then
be
we-
a dad karate teacher hitting them too fast. They couldn't do their blocks.
and then we kicked into
Oh,
with
really?
Bond going around the Monte Carlo sort of chicanes.
Yeah. Don't drive too fast, James. That would ruin the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Daddy, no.
So we're going to go. We're going to go when it comes. It's coming out late
Yeah.
because of the corona.
Yeah.
But it used to be we had an outing. We've had a couple, I think, to Bond.
We did
Films.
Spectre.
No.
We-
Spectre Director.
We've done 2. The deal is, I book the tickets, and that's the deal.
I think
And
I'd
you
like the
got the popcorn. You get the
Right.
popcorn.
It's a good deal.
I love it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Well, we were talking about
Tradition.
Bond and No Time to Die, and the fact that, as you said, it's about his retirement. I
Yeah.
believe that's when it starts. So it's him queuing at the post office,
Yeah.
essentially.
Doing watercolours.
Cashier number 7, please. Watercolours, yes. Ordering, maybe him flicking through the supplements, Frank. Ordering some of those nice elasticated trousers. You know, I
Yes.
have given up
What
shop.
if he'd resigned to retire, and he'd woken up in the village like the prisoner, and because that was the whole idea, that spies weren't supposed to resign because
Yes.
they knew too much, so they had to be hidden away. That would have been a fabulous intertextuality.
I always thought if I ever got on Mastermind, which I wouldn't, but I
Don't
grow
put
old.
yourself down.
I grow old. But I think I always felt my specialist subject, I'd love it to be the prisoner. But now I think it might be Pete,
Oh, okay.
Disney character.
Right,
You've
'cause
seen that.
you-
You probably
Origin
already
story.
know
You've
more
done
than most
a
people.
1 week deep dive on Pete.
I mean, I've gone deep. Well, on the subject of films, though, I just wanted to raise something, which is, while we're talking about branding, did you read this about Apple? Ryan Johnson, you'll know him. Frank, he's your community, because he did Star Wars The Last Jedi, I believe.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you meant the S&M community that Frank jokes about being involved in.
Did he do the last Jedi?
I may be wrong. I think he did. I'm sure he did a
Okay.
Star Wars. Our readers
Okay.
can let us know if I've got that right. But he did
Sure.
Knives Out, which is fabulous. He has revealed that Apple told him the villain in his movie was not allowed to be seen using an Apple product, i.e. an iPhone. And he has explained...
Not an apple. Well, the difficult thing was the film was about the Garden of Eden.
Not many scenes where Bond baddies are eating chutney with someone.
That Isaac Newton biopics all over the place. mate.
Hasn't Snow White? Doesn't the baddie use an Apple product in Snow White?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, the witch. Who I always had to play in the school play. Thank you.
Oh no.
I know. No, I had my revenge, Frank.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Well, I did. I got
I,
laughs. Thank you.
I
Snow
went-
White doesn't get laughs. The witch does.
That's
the way
for
I
sure.
played it.
I went to see Snow White and the Six Dwarfs last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid Sneezy is self-isolated.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So we were discussing the iPhone's not allowed to be seen by baddies, this director has revealed.
Not seen, used.
Used.
Exactly.
Otherwise, Apple think that it'll be associated with badness.
So,
Villainy.
bad guys. Ryan Johnson essentially said he was giving away a huge secret, and he's shooting himself in the foot here, because every time anyone watches any of his movies in future, they're going to know the person holding the old Nokia is the villain, essentially.
Oh.
You can't be... And he's doing Knives Out too, so difficult to be... it's more of a... Have you seen the movie? It's absolutely marvellous.
Which one?
Knives Out.
No.
It's more of a sort of why done it in some respects.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I love a why done it. How done it, why done it.
Okay, yeah, because Thingy was a why done it. No, not why done it.
How done it.
How does he find out who done it? Was Columbo? That's how Columbo
Yeah.
worked. You knew who done it from the beginning.
Yes.
But I take his point about this, though.
It's true, if you know that information...
At the beginning...
It's a bit like if there's... say if there's an Agatha Christie type... 10 possible suspects on the telly recently made.
Mm-hmm.
I think my money's on one of the white men. I would say.
Yeah.
Now that, I think that's a good thing. I think we're in flux. Things are improving.
No, but it is a spoiler.
But it is a bit of a spoiler to a whodunit.
I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also, because the other thing is that apparently in 24, I don't know if you used to watch that.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
You know what? Somebody gave me the DVD of that and said, you'll absolutely love it. And I watched one episode and I thought, not for me.
Right.
Okay.
It's good to jump out of those things early, though,
Yeah.
rather than halfway through.
Yeah.
I'd listen to that podcast this week on Frank Skinner's Not For Me.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone who
Sounds
doesn't
a bit
like Doctor Who.
Sounds a bit negative.
The Sopranos.
Not for you.
7
Oh,
eps.
Frank.
Seven eps.
7 eps.
Frank, I
Not for me.
got 4 in, and what did I tell you it was? The Dolmio ad.
I think this is...
It is. Can we do what we? This is what we think this one is. Tony, come on.
I definitely regard myself more negative than you two, but yet you've come up with a vehicle for Frank that is basically negativity.
Not for me.
For me. Frank Skinner.
I feel really
not for me.
overlooked here.
And now on Radio 4, it's time for Frank Skinner's Not For Me. This week, you two.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing the our iPhone not being allowed to be used by baddies. I'm guessing by
Now they
Apple.
tell me. Sorry, I'll give it back.
Yeah, I feel like they could allow it, but just make sure that there's also a counterbalance moment. So, like, there could be a moment in it where 007 says, the difficult thing about being a spy these days is remembering all your passwords. Thankfully, I use the Apple Wallet or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, they could have the baddie use the iPhone, but say, oh, God, I've used an aftermarket charger and now I'm straight down to 25%.
It could be done.
Or something like that.
Aftermarket charger.
You know, when you use like a bad charger,
Is this
it
why you're
doesn't
not in
charge up?
script writing?
You don't think that would be suspenseful?
Al, could I add to
I
this
thought they were
point,
good
though?
suggestions. If any of the production team are listening, feel free
I
to
love
have
the
that.
aftermarket charger. It's absolutely genius work. What I would say to both of you, gentlemen, is that villains, in my book, are, especially in Bond films, are sort of, stereotypically at least, they sort of seem to be at the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
You know, the lair. They have a lair, don't they?
Yeah,
With all
they
sorts of blinking gadgets.
Yeah, laser.
Lasers. Oh, they launch rockets,
Yeah,
Frank.
underground
Nuclear
kingdom.
wars, all sorts going on with these people.
A lot of sliding to reveal stuff. A lot of that kind of sliding doors.
Well, exactly, Alan. What I would say is it's the villains in Bond films who I would say are better brand ambassadors for the technology than Bond, who I'm afraid tends to push people in a pool.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but he does get things
He's quite
like...
lo-fi,
He does
actually,
get
thinking
like...
about it.
No, he isn't.
He smashes the place up. He doesn't
gets
do that.
pens that...
Oh, great,
That's
pens.
a good
do
point,
stuff.
yeah.
You know, he gets all
Pens.
those stuffs from... is it M?
No, but he doesn't launch underwater civilizations and nuclear missiles.
Look, can we just
No.
say, I think we should point out, obviously, all forms of sponsorship are brilliant. Can we make that absolutely clear? And here on Absolute Radio, where real advertising matters.
Yes.
For example, if the popular breakfast show host, Dave Berry,
Oh, yeah.
if he if we found out that he'd killed 3 people in a McDonald's with an axe,
For God's sake, we've got through 3 hours.
I think we
without
can
you.
safely say that the management of Absolute would stand by Dave Berry, as we all would, until there was a trial and we'd actually found out whether he was innocent or guilty.
Yes, yes.
Unless we found out that it wasn't an axe from Wicks. And then I'm afraid he'd be on his own. So I think sponsorship does matter. And far be it from us to condemn the Bond films here on Absolute Radio.
We don't condemn them. I mean, what I would say, I do think that I remember Danny Boyle said that in Slumdog Millionaire, he'd been told that, I don't know if I can mention the car company. I
Was
won't
this
upset the
Mercedes?
music.
Sorry.
You're right, Al.
I mean, I was guessing.
you don't. But yeah, they said we'll be in the movie, but we don't want to be associated. We don't want anyone poor driving it.
Yeah,
essentially what
exactly.
they
See, we can have, if there's any shots of posh apartment blocks, you can put it there, but we don't want it near the slums. That's what he's. I mean, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, I think, was a bit touchy.
Was it?
as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, my mom's cola had to be used. You know that?
My mum.
Panda cola. I think all the baddies in the new Bond film drink Panda cola.
I love that.
No
Terrible.
wonder they're so
product.
angry.
Exactly.
Frank.
Yeah, they are hyper, those baddies.
Also, I tell you what, they're beware. I'll Scaramanga and the Calvin Classics from the market.
Oh, yeah, totally. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to us this week. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.